In our scripture today, David is not yet a king. He's served before, he's been in all kinds of uncomfortable situations, but he's not yet the guy in charge. You see, he goes from being hunted, if you will, to eventually becoming the one in power. It's a really fascinating story. On the one hand, we find that there are reasons for him to be mean, to lash out, to be violent against the one who's coming after him, that person being Saul. He's considering what it means to be a loving person. Does he hurt his friend? Does he kill his friend? How does he act in the midst of all the things that have been done to him? How painful it must have been, how terrifying, horrific it must have been, even for him at times in the story. And he could have easily pushed back, lashed out, hurt Saul as a response. And of course, on the other side of the conflict is Saul, who responds to David's act of self-control with beautiful words and appreciation. And of course, later on in the story, we find that Saul is back to trying to hurt David all over again. My point here is that you find two individuals, David and Saul, who exhibit all kinds of behavior in different ways at different times, loving at one point, peaceful at one time, not gentle, not self-controlled. My point here is that these are human beings living out their lives in complicated and really, really different ways. It's like David trying to figure out how to be a self-controlling person and Saul stumbling his way towards it. As I think about it, I ask myself, where do I find myself struggling to have self-control? Where do you find yourself struggling to have self-control? Where is gentleness a challenge for you? Where is it a challenge for me? We have to remind ourselves that gentleness is not about being weak or strong. It's about having a grasp of the power that's in us. Have a handle on that and not abuse it. All of us have power in different places. We all have opportunities to hurt or help other people. So, where do you have power? Where do you have power over others in your life? Are you aware of it? Where have you been tempted to lash out in anger or violence to someone else? Sometimes it's easier to show self-control when we have more confidence. Sometimes showing self-control helps us build confidence. You might see this as a kind of a dynamic at work, even when we look at the story of David and Saul going back and forth, different behaviors at different times. So when I realize that, I have to remind myself that this community, these people that we're trying to be with, that we're trying to be the fruit of the Spirit among, we have to realize that there are power dynamics even among us. Some of us are older, younger, places in between, different experiences. Some of us have titles, right? There are power dynamics even here at camp. We're not all the same. Who holds power? Who feels powerless? How can camp be a place where we practice gentleness and self-control, no matter what our title, no matter what our name? Maybe it's human beings carving out a space for others, like animals in nature. We see the beautiful animals here at camp or around us, the birds flying, and we express gratitude for that. Maybe it's talking to the staff or the leadership and saying how much we appreciate them for what they bring to camp. Let's remind ourselves that as a community of love, we are the fruit of the Spirit. And everything is connected, always. The words we use, the respect we have, the ways that we work for change in this life, they reveal who we truly are. So let's choose to be the face of gentleness, and let's live a life of self-control.